Well, I've got some more tool acquisitions that I want to share with you. You can see them all stacked up right here. I got quite a stack here. And I've got these actually a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to try to show them in one of my Saturday night videos already, but I already had plenty of video to fill it in, so I'm just now getting to it. And another reason is because if you see behind me, I've got a stack of plywood in the floor here, and we did that because we got rain. It's the weekend, and we're expecting rain all day, and you know, still got the machine covered up, and it's just I can't really get back there and do anything right now. So I got some other stuff I'm working on in the shop today, and I want to go ahead and pull these out and let's take a look at them and share them with you. A couple of them are pretty interesting tools that I've never seen before. So I got my Starett book out too because I had to do a little research on a couple of them. But so we got some different stuff. You can see I got some more surface gauges here. But so I got these from an old friend of mine. His name is Mark, and he was actually a customer of our shop for a long time, and he knew my dad pretty much his whole life. They kind of grew up around the same period. So but anyway, Mark worked for a construction company here in town that we did business for, and he retired from them, and he's come by recently and seen me a few times. Had a little project for me to do. Actually, this is his project right here, this little serpentine pulley. He asked me to put a bushing in there for him to reduce it down to 5/8 bore, so I did that for him, and it's just sitting here waiting on him to come and get it. But he told me when he had brought that he was at a yard sale and found a bunch of machinist tools, and even though he had no need for them, he thought about me and thought that I would probably like them. So he gathered up all that stuff. He said he found everything they had there at the yard sale, and he asked them how much they wanted for all that stuff, and they told him they would take $40 for it all. So he said, well, I think that's worth it. So he gave him the $40 and took him home, and he's had them for a while, and he finally came and seen me, and he brought them all over here and showed them to me. And I asked him, I said, well, what do you want for them? He said, I just want my $40 back. So I gave him his $40 back, and did a little job for him. I ain't charging him for that. And I got some more interesting tools and maybe some stuff that I can trade off if some of you other guys show any interest in this stuff. So let me I'm gonna move the camera closer, and we'll take a quicker look, or a closer look, at some of these tools. Okay, we'll start with the surface gauges. All right, this is the first surface gauge. I can't find a manufacturer's name on this, so I don't know what brand it is, but it appears, the quality of it appears like it might be an import, but I really don't know. I just don't, it doesn't look like a Starett or a Brown Sharp or Lufkin or one of those brands, so I'm not sure what it is. But you know, it's not bad, it's still in good shape. And actually both of these were pretty cruddy, and what I did was I took them apart and I soaked them in a bucket of WD-40 for like a week, and I haven't polished them or anything, but I just gave them a good wipe down, hit them with a little bit of Scotch-Brite to get some of the rust off, and everything works good now. And this is just how it came. This is the attachments that's on here. Now it does say down here at the bottom, it looks like it says 5/N number 2. Actually, it kind of looks like a Z. I thought about Stan whenever I read that right there. But I don't know what significant that is. That's just whoever owned it put that on there. So anyway, there's the first little surface gauge. Alright, now here's the second one. And this is a Lufkin. Let's see, let me move that rod out of the way. Alright, this is a Lufkin number 520. And it's still in good shape, and it did have some rust on it, you can see all that. That's actually still rust on there that I haven't gotten off, but I soaked it and I cleaned it. I got all the pins loosened up. They got a nice feel in there now. And cleaned the rod up some. I just took some of that gray Scotch-Brite with the WD-40 and just kind of rubbed everything, because it had a lot of dust on it. They'd been sitting around a long time. So that's the Lufkin surface gauge there. Came with the kit. So nice little tool there. Okay, let's move on. Alright, so we got 3 sets of these. More of the back plunge indicator sets. I'm starting to acquire quite a bit of these things. And this looks like a complete set. It looks like everything's in the box. The indicator's in good shape. Actually, it works fine. It doesn't have any stickiness to it. It goes back to the same stopping point every time. So the indicator's good with this one here. And like I said, everything's in here. Now here's another little, let me pull this out. This is another little tool that I don't think went with it. There's the clamp, just showing that it's not really rusty or anything. There's the bar. Alright, this little guy here was in the box, and it looked like it went together like this. Get it where you can see it. So those 4 screws, it looked like it had a little piece of spring steel in there, and it pivots. But looks like it does like this. So you got a little contact right there. But it's broken. But that's how it was in the box there. But I don't know if it went with this kit or not. This might have been something that somebody had put in this box. Alright, so yeah, anyway, another back plunge indicator set from Starett. That's the Starett number 196. Move this off to the side. And then we have another one here. And this one's been around for a while. Another back plunge set here. This one is considerably older, and it looks like it's been well used and abused. The indicator still works. The crystal has shrunk. It needs to be replaced. Just needs a good cleaning, but the indicator works good. Surprisingly, there's not really much rust on this stuff here. That holder's in good shape. Now the other pieces, these are a little rough. Got some rust on them. The snug's in good shape. Clamp's just got a little bit of rust on it. Alright, so there's the second back plunge indicator set. You can see it's been used. Oh look, they had $30 on the bottom of that. So there's that one. Alright, and there's one more kit here. Now this one is incomplete, and this is a Central brand. So there's most of the kit there. But it is missing the indicator. I don't know if that went with it or not. It's the first time I've seen a Central back plunge set like this. Not quite as nice as the Starett. The finish on the bar looks pretty rough. Clamp's in good shape, don't have any rust on it. It just has the casting of it is a little more rough than the Starett brand. You got to put that all the way in to get it to fit. That to me looks like a Starett, but I don't know. This is how it came, and I'm just sharing with you what I'm seeing here. So nothing too special there. All right, central tool, back plunge set, that's incomplete. All right, give me a second, we'll move on to some more. Okay, moving on. Got this case with some indicators in it. Now look at this guy. I've never had an indicator this big. This is made by Compaq. This may be a good candidate to send to Long Island and have them do a little refurbishing on it. It is missing the tips on the end, but it works. Doesn't feel too bad. Little bit. I don't know if this thing, if it's broke or what, but you can turn this, the anvil part of it, and it's almost like it locks. You got to find the center of it to get it to rotate. That's a nice big indicator right there. $20 wrote on it. Compaq, made in Switzerland. Alright, then we got another little cheapo, made in China, nothing special. Somebody's got their name Ernie wrote on the back of it. Alright, another interesting indicator. Now this one is called a standard, number 11B. Standard Gauge, let's see. The Standard Gauge Company. That's from New York, trying to read. But it actually, you can see the inside in there where the numbers are. All that stuff is just flaking and coming apart. So not really usable in this condition, and it's getting caught up in the needle in there. But this thing is really heavy. It's got a lot of weight to it, and the back of it is made of brass. And a little bit different design than like a Starett, most of the ones that I've seen. So I don't know what I'll do with it. I don't know if it's worth trying to have it fixed or not, but it is cool because it's a different brand than what I usually see. Standard. Alright, so there's that. Alright, we got one of these guys here. Now this is a Starett rule clamp, and it's the number 258, I believe, or no, 299, I'm sorry. And it's still in good shape. It's just kind of rusty, needs a good cleaning. My friend Gil actually gave me one of these, so there's another one of those. Got some more snugs in here. These, that looks like parts. I know this is from a hacksaw, so I don't know, just some junk that somebody threw in the box. That's about it for this little box here. Is the indicators. Alright, the next tool is an inside mic set from Starett, and this is a very old set, and it's in pretty rough shape. I wouldn't put too much value on this thing, although it's still usable, and somebody could take these things and repolish them. They need a really good polish, and there's actually quite a bit of rust built up on these rods, and the mic itself still spins and works good, just got a lot of rust. So this old set here has been pretty well abused, but it came with all the tools, so don't know what I'll do with it. Like I said, I don't really put much value on a tool in this kind of condition right here, but you know, it'll go in the stack, and maybe it'll get traded off for something one day, or if somebody wants it. Okay, this is the last two items of the stack, And these items, they're both Starett, they're both identical, but one of them looks like it's a lot older than one of them. This one's a little bit newer. And these are the tools that I told you I had never seen before. And when I was looking at them, I was trying to figure out what they were and what they were used for, and I had to do a little research on it. So let's check. Let's open this up, and I want to see if any of you guys recognize what this is. And I hope I got you in the camera here. There's the gauge. This is another piece that goes with it. This goes on the back there. And then all the contact rods. And they all come to a point. They're all sharp, ground to a very sharp point on the end. Alright, so have you got any of you guys figured this out yet? I'll go ahead and tell you what it is then. This is a Starett number 696 crankshaft distortion dial strain gauge. Long name, but so this is a specialty item, a special tool that Starett built for checking distortion of I believe it's the crankshafts and the frames in big diesel motors and steam engines too, I believe. And I had no idea because I had to do some research on that to find that out. But I've got my book, and what we'll do is we're gonna look in the book and see what it says about this thing, and we'll it's got some good diagrams in there that shows what this tool does. Now, I will tell you that they both need repair. I don't believe that this thing's in good working condition. It's got some set screws missing on the back side right here, and the part that moves here is not in the correct position. But what you do, let me get a little rod out right here. They got some of these got a little bit of rust on them. And let me get this one out right here. You put it into the back of the indicator here. See, this is all moving. It shouldn't be moving like that. And you tighten the clamp up, and what it has, you have a range that this thing moves, like so. So you put whatever size point, whatever length point you need to get in between, like a crank journal, and you wedge this indicator up in there, and the points hold itself. And as you rotate the crankshaft around, any misalignment or strain will show up on this indicator right here, and that's how it's used. And we'll look in the book and I'll show you the diagrams so you can better understand what I'm talking about, because I'm probably not doing too good of a job explaining this. So let me this part right here is, they call this a counterweight that goes on the back of the indicator itself right here. And once you get this thing installed where you want it, you can use the counterweight to move the dial into the position that you want so you can see it, and it'll keep it balanced. That's what that's for. Let's check out the other one real quick. This is the old one. Let's see if I can figure out the case. All right, there we go. All right, see, this is the same thing. And here's the dial on this one. And this one actually has the counterweight attached to the back of it right there. And it's so that whenever it's held in place there, you can rotate it wherever you want it, and it'll pretty much stay in that position. Alright, so the dial's froze up on this one, so evidently it's messed up. It needs repair. But it's not in bad shape. So I'm curious to know what the repair would be on something on this tool, and refurbish it and repurpose it. The rods are still in good shape other than surface rust, so those could be polished out. The points all still feel good. This is the extension rod right here. It has a wide range that you can use these tools in. All right, so let me move this out of the way, and what I want to do is get my little book, my Starett book. All right, here's my Starett catalog, and I've got it marked. There it is. Crankshaft distortion dial strain gauge number 696, and the counterweight is the number 696M. So you can see right there, that looks exactly like this. Same tool. And there is some pictures of it being used in, in action there. So they've got it right here, they've got it set in the middle of the journal there. It says, to determine alignment, set the strain gauge so that it just clears the connecting rod. Turn engine until connecting rod nearly touches strain gauge rod on other side to take a reading at each quarter. Alright, here it is again installed, showing a diagram. Strain gauge applied to the crank of diesel engine to determine improper alignment. Alright, then here we got some more diagrams. They got one showing at the top and the bottom here. It says misalignment of cylinder and engine frame. Exaggerated for purposes of illustration, because you can see that it's not in alignment there. Alright, and here's another diagram showing the top and the bottom. Strain gauge applied to engine frame while operating. Difference between top and bottom readings of the strain gauge indicates improper alignment causing cracks. Okay, and there's one more thing here I want to read, that how they developed this tool. It says this gauge was designed in collaboration with the Hartford Steam Boiler Inspection and Insurance Company. It was known as the Hartford Steam Boiler Engine Strain Gauge and is used by their inspectors to check the distortion of the engine shafts and frames as shown, as right here. So that is the Starett distortion strain gauge. And it's an interesting tool. Like I said, never seen one before. Had no idea what it was when I pulled it out of the box. And it's not something that a typical machine shop guy like me working in a job shop, we're not going to be using this thing right here. This I would imagine should belong to a diesel mechanic or somebody, a mechanic type person that works on engines and steam engines and that kind of thing. So I really have no need for this tool, but it was something interesting that Mark found and brought to me. So another interesting tool for the collection. And I tell you what, if any of you guys watching this have an interest in this tool, let me know, because I don't need this, but it would be great to see this go to somebody that can use it, or maybe send it to Starett and have them have a quote on repairing it and get it back in usable condition. So let me know if anybody has any interest in either one of these right here. And they are very expensive new, I'll tell you that. I've got the website pulled up here and I'll show you. Hopefully you can see that. This is the Starett website, and they've got it listed at $583 for that tool right there. Ideal gauge for checking bearing alignment and shaft deflection without dismantling the engine. So that's pretty cool. And it goes from 2 3/8 to 18 inches. That's the range that it will go in. Well, that's it for the new lot of tools that I got right here. and I had fun finally getting to show you this, and this is something that I learned about. It's a new tool that I've never seen or used. So most all this stuff right here is going to be going into the trade stack. So anybody showing interest in the strain gauges or the you know, anything here, let me know if you want to do some trading or whatever. The only thing that I really want to keep is the that compact dial indicator. I'd like to keep that, and maybe the Starett rule clamp and the Lufkin surface gauge. I do want to keep those there, but like I said, these items here I will let go if somebody shows interest in them. So just let me know. So I got another item here in the shop I want to show you that I want to pull out. I'm gonna bring over here, take a look at something I've never shown you guys before, and it'll be great for these surface gauges. So be right back. Okay guys, what I wanted to do was pull out my collection of surface gauges, including the ones that I just recently acquired, and I've also got a height gauge here and a couple blocks. And I've got something else here I've been wanting to show you guys for a long time, and I had never pulled it out and showed it to you, so I want to go into this. But anyway, first we'll start with the surface gauges, and I already showed you this one and this one earlier. That's the two that I just recently acquired. This one here is one that belonged to my dad, and I cleaned it up here recently. I haven't, you know, when I say clean up, I mean get all the crud off of it, oil it up good, but it needs a good buffing, you know, get some of the discoloration off of it. All right, but this one is a Lufkin number 522, and for a long time this is the only one we had in our shop. Like I said, this was Dad's, and he's got the scriber. He always had the scriber in here, and it wasn't the right size for this snug, so he had made this little shim right here and got it wedged in there real tight, and that's how he always used it, and never had a reason to take it out. But I rarely ever use this thing. So this one was Dad's here, and then I also got one of my granddad's height gauges here. This is a Starett veneer height gauge, and what I want to do is I'm going to show you what I got here. Also got another tool right back here. We're going to talk about this one in a second also. So give me a second. So what we got right here is, this is my surface plate for the shop. This is a cast iron surface plate. This is just a cover, a little aluminum cover that was fabbed, and you can see it was it was actually used as like a little catch-all also. There was always tools and stuff sitting on top of it. So, all right, this is a little piece of foam mat that's got oil in it to protect it. And this is the surface plate right here. Cast iron surface plate. I got a little oily rag. I'm going to go ahead and dust it off again. And it's still in really good shape. It's got signs of use on it. I have no idea how old this thing is or the manufacturer, but it's another tool that my granddad bought for our shop, and we really didn't ever use it much. It was pretty rare that we used it. But you know, the more time goes on and I see other guys doing certain things, I'm picking up on things that stuff like this is used for in surface gauges, and that's why I say we're always learning. You know, there's nobody out there that knows it all. We're always learning, and that's how we learn the trade. We learn through others. We're taught. So anyway, you know, so this is my surface plate here, and I would like to start putting a little more use on it when I can. So what I thought I'd do is just demonstrate some of how these surface gauges work. And we'll start with Dad's surface plate. I mean, not surface plate, surface gauge. All right, we got make sure the pins are pushed up. Okay. So here's our oldie cast iron surface plate, and here's Dad's old surface gauge. Here's the new Lufkin that I acquired here recently. Don't have any other snugs for it. I mean, I'd have to put them together. But here's another close-up of another one that I acquired a long time ago, and it's got his name on it, Leon. When I was a lot younger, I bought Mr. Leon's machinist box. He had retired, and he was selling his box. He had a lot of nice tools, and so I acquired all his stuff. So I've got quite a few things around the shop that have his name on them. But this surface gauge here is still in very, very fine condition. So let's just take a little sample of what we could do on a surface plate here. All right, here's one of the few Joe blocks that I have. This is a Brown and Sharp gauge block. We're going to get to that one in a second. Now here is one of Paul's 1, 2, 3 blocks, and we're just going to use this as a just an example. So you can use this for laying out. You can adjust your surface gauge. Yeah, your surface gauge. You set your pointer. I went and got my new hardened steel machinist square and the new scale, and I'm just want to give an example here how you can use this. So say you got a little block of steel that you want to do some laying out on. You can use this to scratch your lines on your blocks, and you've got a nice perfectly straight line. You can use the surface gauge with the point here on the scriber to locate where you want to scribe across, and you can use a setup like this. There's numerous ways you can do this. This is just an example here. So say I want to come up and set that point at 2 inches, so I bring that thing over to that scale. All right, you get it close, and then you can use your fine adjust on the surface gauge right here, and I'm just bringing it up. All right, that looks like it's touching the 2-inch line on the rule. So to say that's set at 2 inches, and you can take your block and scribe your lines. Scribe a line all the way around if you want to, whatever you're doing. And that's a 2-inch height right there. So there's one example of a good way to use a surface gauge on a surface plate. And so this is like, for the guys that may not be familiar with these, I'm sure a lot of you are, whenever you see a granite surface plate, there's several guys on the YouTube that's got surface plates made out of granite, used the same way. And those are more desirable than the cast iron because they're not supposed to wear, where this is a metal surface, so you do get wear with time. But like I said, this one's been used very little, so what wear it has on there is not going to affect my job around my shop. It's a nice table. So yeah, I just wanted to show you that, and so that's one way you can scribe your lines on a part if you want to do some layout on a surface plate. All right, let's change it up and look at something else. All right, so now I got the veneer height gauge set, and you can use a height gauge to do the same thing also. You can use it to scribe your lines on a part. If you want to, you can come up, once you get it set, run across it and scratch your line. Now I've got this one set at the very bottom of the adjustment at 1 inch, and this is where I had pulled out the little 1-inch gauge block that I have, and I've actually got it set to 1 inch exactly, as close as I can read anyway. It's just barely, it's rubbing across the top of that block, and I can just see it moving the little bit of oil that I've got on there. I actually I didn't look at the gauge. I actually set this by the feel and then locked it and then read the veneer scale, and the 0 and the 25 is lined up perfectly in line, as close as I can read with my eyes. So I'd say that's about 1 inch right there. So you could transfer that over to this block here. If you wanted to make a line from the bottom end here 1 inch up, you can take this, bink, scribe you a line across there. So that's it's another good use there. Example of using a height gauge, or you can use your height gauge on a surface plate here if you do want to measure. Let's go ahead and slide this up a little, and what I'm going to do is bring it down close, and I like to snug the bottom one just a little bit too to get to pull it up square against the beam. And then what I'll do is I'm going to adjust it down to where I can feel it just touching it. Okay, probably just a little bit too low right there, but I'm getting a little bit of friction on that 1, 2, 3 block. I'm going to go ahead and re-snug that, and let's see where I'm at. I'm on 3 inches. I'm on exactly 3 inches, as close as I can read it. I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I do have a bunch of oil on there too, trying to protect it from the humidity down here. Alright, so there's another little example right there. And so I got one more I want to show you. Be right back. Okay, I'm on my last setup here that I want to talk about. And what I've got set up here is my Starett indicator holder, also known as an inspection holder. I've got 2 of these like the Starett, and I also got a big Brown and Sharp that's still put up over there. And this one I still have the nice Starett box. And also I had completely forgot that inside the box I've still got another one of these Starett dial indicators in here, and it works good. It's just got the crystals missing. So I had actually forgot that it was in the case here. So I have to try to remember that. Also have the bent rod that you can use. Also, it comes with this little block here, and I believe you can use this like in a tool holder. You can clamp it, and you can use it to hold your indicators. My dad used to use this to indicate in the lathe before he ever started buying the adjustable arm indicator holders. I've got my book open here too, and just to show you, there it is in the catalog. That's the number 665, and you can actually use the top surface of the base here to set your parts on to do inspection work also. So you could have it set where you could put your parts here and have your dial set and quickly check parts. So I'll give you an example of how I could use this on the surface plate here if I wanted to. So I've got this, this is that gauge block, and I've got it on the 1 inch side, and I've got this set. Now this is really sensitive, and it took a little while to get it adjusted because any little tiny movement touching this thing wants to try to move that dial. And this is the Starett indicator that I just had repaired by Long Island. That is the 10th resolution dial indicator, and I think I got it set. I've been getting about a 1/10 difference every time I move it. But what I'm going to do, all right, right there, I've got it sitting on that Brown and Sharp gauge block, and it's set at 1 inch, but I've got, you know, my dial set to 0 right there, and you can slide it across, and I can't see any movement on that dial right there. Hopefully I'm not blocking the camera too much, but now if I pull it out, you can see the indicator drop there. So I've got it set at 1 inch. What I want to do, here's the 1, 2, 3 blocks that was in Paul's toolbox. These belong to Paul. These are some of the ones he gave me, and I don't know if he built these or if these were industrial bought. I assumed he built them, but I don't know. So what I'd like to do is compare them against the 1-inch gauge block right here. So we'll start with this one and see what we get. Okay. Alright, so I can see about 3.5 tenths high on this one here. Let's move it around without bumping anything and see. Alright, it's dropping a little bit on that side. It's moving around a little bit. Now some of that might be the dial moving with that indicator arm going up and down there. So now I'm at, yeah. That's about 1.5 tenths there. Yeah, so I'm actually moving the indicator, but hopefully you get the gist of what I'm doing here. I'm just checking it. Yeah, I keep moving it. Now I'm not on my 0 anymore. You see how sensitive this stuff can be. I'm about 2.5 tenths under there with the gauge block. I'll probably lose my reading here, but what I was getting at was this one here is about 2 to 3 tenths bigger than the actual gauge block. Let's check this other one. Alright, that one's a little bit smaller. So we're about 1/2 thousandths under on this one here. I'm just moving it around to see if we see any differences there, but so that one's about 1/2 thousandths. But just giving an example, that's not really a really good true reading right there. If I wanted to check it really accurately, I'd need to have a little bit better setup on what I'm doing. But like I said, this is just an example. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys and show you something different. A little bit different inspection we haven't seen. Now Tom Lipton has done a great job of showing some inspection work on his granite surface plate using test indicators and things like that, but I haven't seen anybody show one of these. So that's why I wanted to pull this one out and share it on video also. Just something different that we got, and wanted to share it with you guys. So, but I like my new Starett, my refurbished dial indicator, and it's going to be nice being able to have such fine reading on there. Alright guys, well I hope that you enjoyed this little show and tell right here. Some of my finer tools that I've got in the shop that I wanted to share, and show a few things that you can do with the surface plate, with a surface gauge, the indicator holders, things like that. Like I said, this is just a couple of examples. There's a lot of different ways you can hold indicators and other things that you can do on this with all these different tools right here. But I hope you enjoyed, and enjoyed sharing you the tools. And thanks everybody for watching. Thanks to all the new subscribers. Thanks for all the great comments. I really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy, and I hope to keep making some good videos for you to watch. Okay guys, we'll see you later.